Good evening. This is Jeremy Heckman coming to you live from Southern California. Tonight I'm here to talk to you about a little video game called World of Warcraft. It may surprise you to discover that by playing this game and many other massively multiplayer online role-playing games, that you are actually satisfying the necessary function of social interaction. But this social interaction, like all other forms, requires certain literacies in order to be truly effective. Go ahead and state your name.
My name is Carl Eisenberg.
How long have you played World of Warcraft?
Since the stress test beta, so over 2 years.
How many characters do you have?
I only have one that I play most of the time. I have a level 70 paladin.
Are you in a guild?
Yes, I have been in this guild for a year, I guess.
How did you join this particular guild?
I was applying to guilds online, and so basically I researched the popular guilds on a server that had a lot of people and were doing raid content, and I went to their websites and tried to evaluate what they represented, and I applied to a couple. This one wasn't necessarily my first application, but I'm glad I'm in this one as opposed to the other ones that I applied to, just because some of them were more selfishly raid-oriented.
Moving on to abbreviations used in-game. Do you use chat, or do you use TeamSpeak or some other form of communication?
I use
Ventrilo?
But
Okay.
only with the guild, and only usually when in raids. Sometimes we use it in 5-man runs or in PvP, but most of the time it's just raids.
So in instances with raids, you find it easier to communicate verbally than through text?
Yeah, you can do it with text, and it's very possible to do it with text. Usually, it makes it easier to distinguish who's speaking. Usually you have the raid leader doing the speaking on the vent, and he's saying what's going to happen next, and then you have people asking questions on vent, but most of the other side conversations go on in the chat in-game.
When in-game, when not doing a raid and trying to complete a quest, how often do you team up with people in general, as in you use the looking for group channel to find people to help you complete the quest you're on?
Okay, there's a couple different ways that I do quests in a group.
Okay.
Usually, I would ask people in my guild, in the guild chat, if they are on the same quest or anyone else needs this. Then I might use the looking for group channel, either the global channel, which is no longer technically part of the game, but there still is a global channel that it just uses the same name, and probably half the servers in there. Anyway, so I either use that or the looking for group tool now. If I'm on a specific quest, I'll generally use the zone chat. There's a general zone chat, and so I'll ask someone in the same zone that I'm in if anyone else needs to use it before using the looking for group channel or the looking for group tool.
So after using the zone chat has failed, you can use personal chat, which will ask people in your general area if they can help you complete the quest. There's someone in the area. Let's ask him by whispering to him, "Are you working on this quest?" That didn't work. He's in a group. I'll ask him for an invite so that I can be a part of his group and get credit for any kills he executes. He has invited me. So now we're going to go kill Captain Perrine. There are a lot more people than our group, so yes, Captain Perrine is now slain, as well as a Scarlet Zealot. 2 quest objectives have been completed. How about general abbreviations and such? LFG for looking for group. How you found out about those, learned to use those, learned what they meant.
It was so long ago, I don't remember. I've been using them for as long as I've been playing WoW, and some of them are WoW specific, like looking for group LFG, and looking for more LFM, and sometimes you put a number in there, so looking for one more. Or things like want to sell WX or WTS, or want to trade WTT, using those in the trade channel. Those are kind of WoW originated. As far as I know, they didn't come from another game, but they could be an MMO thing. I don't remember learning them. So probably they were used in chat and I saw them and asked what it meant to people I knew, and they told me.
Okay. So you would consider yourself an expert at World of Warcraft?
Yeah.
How long do you think it took you to acquire expert status, as it were?
Well, it depends. Whether you mean expert in my character, expert in WoW in general, or expert in everything. Because I wouldn't necessarily say I'm an expert mage, because I don't play a mage. And I know most of the mage spells, but I wouldn't necessarily configure or think of myself as an expert in how a mage should spec his talent tree. So, since I've been playing Paladin for so long, I would have said I've been an expert shortly after I hit 60 in the original, so a couple months.
Okay.
But I mean, I've also been there are other areas of expertise. I am part of a large add-on community, and so I am also an expert in writing add-ons. But where that came from, I probably wrote, half dozen before I considered myself good. And now that I'm up to like 50 plus add-ons, I would consider myself an expert, but I don't know where the middle is.
What do you like best about the social interaction present in World of Warcraft?
I enjoy collaborative gaming. So I really enjoy that I can be in a group and conquer a raid or a quest, or usually, say, an instance can be either a raid or a 5-man, or even just hanging out with a bunch of people online, because you're also in a chat room while you're online, especially with your guild, because these people you play with regularly you see multiple times a week in game, so you know them fairly well. And it's kind of an interesting dynamic also, because you know how they play and what they say and what they act like, and how they respond to things, but you don't know pretty much anything about their personal life. So you play with people that you don't know specifics where they live necessarily. Like, you might, but most of the time you don't.
Yeah, I remember I did a couple of groups with one guy, and then I ended up just finding his MySpace because we had a good time hanging out and just chatting about it.
If you do a one-on-one kind of thing, you learn more about the person themselves. But if you're in kind of a group, like with your guild, you don't necessarily know the people in your guild. You might know one or two of them. But you play with them frequently, so you know their name, you recognize their name, you know what class they play, you might know what spec they are, what they're good at, if they suck or not.
Do the add-ons contribute to your schooling at all? Have you encountered a computer science class or something where you need to program add-ons or something like that?
Not specifically program add-ons. I have done work. I have been paid to make add-ons twice, and I'm also currently doing a user interface project. I'm being a customer for another group, and so they are doing a user study on one of my add-ons. So they're interviewing and surveying WoW users in how usable the add-on is and giving me feedback.
How long did it take you to learn /chicken?
I don't know, that was pretty early. They go around.
Yeah.
Hey, type this /train is pretty funny too.
Yeah.
But so you learn those things probably in the first couple weeks you play, if you have people that say them. If you don't talk to anyone, like if you turn off your chat channels, it might take you longer to figure it out personally. And I know people that don't want to talk to people, and so they just play solo. But it is a massively multiplayer game, so
it's about connecting socially with others.
yeah.
One way they help literacy is that sometimes there may be names of items or spells in the game that a player may be unfamiliar with, and thus learns the new word either by the context the game introduces it with or by looking it up later since they want to know what it means. Where might you look it up later?
If you mean like an item, what it does, or a word in an item name. Because I know there's like one of the challenges of making items in any game is coming up with names and enough of them in large quantity and variations and permutations.
Scroll of desecration.
Right. And so you come up with all these words that people may or may not have heard of before. So you have sometimes big words that I've never even heard of, or that are Latin, or that are medieval origin, or that are like new words that they made up for the game that are permutations of some other word that means something that they wanted to get.
And did medieval Latin words inspire you to maybe look up what they meant? They inspire a little curiosity?
Yeah, actually, it probably did, because I'm actually taking Latin in college, so I'm in my second quarter of Latin. And I didn't think of that as a direct like influence of that I wanted to take Latin because of these cool words oriented, but it was more of a vocabulary orientation. So like I like having a large English vocabulary. So sometimes I look up these things. If I was going to look up something, an item name, like a word in particular, I would probably just ask someone in my guild. I might ask someone in an IRC channel that I'm in with mostly add-on authors, or I might Google it. If I was looking up a specific item, like stats of what it does, I would go to one of the item databases, like Thoughtbot or Alakazam.
Okay. All right. I can't think of anything else to say, so thank you very much, Carl. And good luck with your paper.
Thanks.
And that's my report on World of Warcraft and literacy. This is Jeremy Heckman signing off.